Hello, 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 everybody. It's Crafty Kris here, and tonight's Learning Live is going to be about looking glass dies. Looking glass dies are my new favorite. Whoop, that's not good. Let's turn that off. Are my new favorite thing. Well, they're not my new favorite thing, but they are becoming something that I kind of bring with me everywhere I go. They are detailed thin dies that are usually in a theme. So each pack has its own theme, and they're small, so they actually are quite portable. If you do what I do, I put them in little Ziploc bags when I'm carrying them around. I just grab the ones I want. The benefit of that is that they work on any die cut machine, even our little baby ones, and they are, because they're so small and you have such a small machine, it really doesn't take much for you to take this on the road and do some wonderful cards. So the other feature that this is that they can be configured in different ways. So they can be configured within their own set, let's say, but you can also mix and match with other sets, and that's something I'm going to focus on tonight for information purposes. And then I'm hoping I'll have time at the end to show you how I am going to use it for working on my scrapbooking pages. Another good part.
Kris, you're already getting birthday wishes.
Oh, thanks, guys. Oh, well, happy belated, Birgit. I saw your happy birthday. You're not late. You're right on time. So you can mix and match these, and you can use them all in one set. You can alternate the order in which you use them, which is also an interesting idea to play with. You can use them for cards. You can use them for regular cards, 5x7 cards, slimline cards. You can use them for layouts, junk journals, art journals, and they're designed to work with Hero Art stamps for pretty much all the lines. Like the themes work together. It's not that you have a stamp that will stamp these images for you, but these images coordinate with other stamps they have in their line. So you can do a combination of stamping and die cutting, and either with cardstock or using your inks. So tonight I was hoping to be able to do both, show you a little bit of what I've done with my cardstock, and then also get into that layout at the end with the inks. So here is I'm going to show you some samples of the beginnings. So with the, I don't think I have it handy. So one of the dies actually comes with, and I've used these funny colors, I hope you don't mind, but to show you the difference in what happens with the image when you use them in different order. So, whoops, that's not plain. I need something plain. I moved all my paper. There we go. Okay, so these are what the dies cut out. And of course, there's the background pieces that get cut out with each layer of die. So there's 3 pieces that come together to make that final image. You can also reverse the process. So on this one, I have the blue sky, or the blue tops of the mountains. On this one, the mountains now are a background color, and I've got the blue in the sky and in the I guess it's the rock of the mountains and the rivers. So just by reversing what part of the die you've cut out, you can create 2 totally different looks. Sorry, I should get you into screen. So I'm hoping you can see that this piece is the positive of the negative that's happening here with the light blue. So that's one way you can use the dies, both with the negative and the positive. Then with the other thing you can do is, in this example I've shown you, is in the background, between the background's mountains and the foreground double trees, is the single green tree. Well, here I've got the single green tree in front and the double trees in the middle between the background and the foreground. I've also changed the colors, which makes a totally different look as well. So there's so many things to do. There's the negative positive switch, there's the background foreground switch, and then there's the color switch. So there's 3 different ways to organize this with all one set of dies, to the point where you won't see the same card at, at least 3 times. Then if you go and add something into it, like a piece from a different set, I have my girl with her with her heart balloon looking out over the vista. And then here I have another 3 options with this. Again, so there's 6, 3, 3 and 3. Yeah, I have 6 different options just with this one part of a die and 3 and 1 set of dies. Gives me 6 different cards if I play around with it. Now, once I've done that, I can also get really fussy with it. So in this case, what I did is I used the negative for the outline. I put a color in the background like I did with this one. Okay, they're very similar. I just changed the color, and then I added, this is a metallic background and this is a glitter background. So just by adding that change in the backgrounds, you can see how you can have, that's going to be 3 possibilities as well. So we've got 9 different cards going on here. And then this is another option where you actually piece together the colors that go with each section of the card. And I've actually left off one of the dies. So you can leave off dies as well. And that has a minimum of 3 options. And then if I take that one out, and put the double tree in and take the single tree out, there's another 3 options you can do. So as I was saying, you can have, 12 different options for one set of dies in a piece from another kit, another set. So that is the demo on layering. Another thing you can do, so this is our beautiful butterfly, and the die itself is like this, and in the background you have a choice because the die cuts it without I didn't give you the piece of that. The die cuts it without a background, so you can choose a white background or a black background. It really makes a difference which color you use. Or you can put a glitter background in there. You can do multiple different things. You can even cover those up with gems if you wish. So the basic die itself has so many opportunities for you to decorate it and create something beautiful just with the 3 dies and choosing the color of the background or adding bling for the center of those flowers. Then you can go to the next step, which is upscaling it. So you can upscale it by, putting that beautiful shimmer, I'm not mirror card in the background. I've got some glitter in there. I've got orange in the background, which is a complementary color with the purple. I've got flat versus shiny. I have a different piece altogether in the center, so you can change it up with what you put on the back of your card to distinguish those layers. So let me get this out of the way. Put those up there so you can see them a little better. Then you can do something like just taking the pieces from all the different colors of paper that we have, putting it together on a different background, and then adding a frame. So there are 2 3 different opportunities for frames. Sorry, I keep getting that button. So we have a square frame with a circle center and then just a regular square frame. Then we have fancy frames. This one is a fine art frame. This one is an ornate frame. We have this in the store. This is an older line from last year. So you have those opportunities. And I just want to point out, if you're going to go to the time of cutting one, you want to cut many and lots of different materials. Like, look at that silver frame. So the frames, all the frames you do, you want to cut many. You don't want to waste time on just one. So multiple frames, and then you get these great little squares, which, you know me and squares and using up my stash. They all kind of coordinate together and can be an excellent background. But the frames themselves, again, if you're going to do it, and you get these great circles, make sure you do it in multiples. So I have stacks of frames all ready to go. These ones are a little tricky because they catch, but these guys stack really well, and you can see the detail in them. So just pointing out that you can also upscale it by adding a frame that coordinates with it. The other thing you can do is the center part, whoops, the center part, which is cut out, you can use as a butterfly on its own, an embellishment on its own. And all these little bits that get cut out as each layer gets cut away from the background, you can use to decorate over top of that butterfly. So if you notice, the pattern is exactly the same on this one as on that one. The only difference is that it's on a positive of a butterfly versus a negative of a butterfly. And look, there's that little girl again, and this time she's got an orange balloon. So you can do that with your your dies. You can cut parts of a die and put them on top of the same part of the same die in a different color. So you've got a ton of options with the butterfly. And then you have things you can mess around with, like the kitty cats. So here's our little kitty cat, and I just cut him and kept him by himself. And here's our little girl. I just cut and kept her by herself. And I combined the kitty cat with the background. Let me see if I can find that set. There it is. So I used 2 different Christmas sets for this one, and I use the stairs, which you see in the background. I use the ornaments, which you only see the ornaments on this particular one. I use the kitty cat and I put them in a stripe. I use the tree from this one and I glittered up that star. The background is actually a piece of I think it was a spellbinder. I'm losing my words. A spellbinder glimmer, glimmer die that had diagonal stripes. So that's in the background, which adds some glitter and gloss, and then a frame around the outside. So multiple uses of multiple things in that one. Here is another run at my girl. I love that girl. And I've used, whoops, wrong set. Let me find the set. Oh, this is a set I have that's in a baggie. There we go. So this set is a set that has an oval, 2 trees, and the girl. Oh, this is the original set. I showed you the set where I mixed her in with other things. So we have the oval in the background of this one, and the girl in the trees, and the girl becomes the frame. On this one, I use the negative in the background, leaving the background open for whatever color card I want to put that on. On this one, you don't see the black frame at all. You just see the girl in the oval as if you're looking through the hole of the oval. And the same with this, I've just turned the oval in a different direction and used the negative of the trees versus the positive of the trees. And in this one, I've got the negative of the girl in the background and the positive of the trees. And I just have that oval in the back being the background of the color of the girl. And in this one, I've got the trees in the very front, the girl in the middle, and it's similar to this one, but you can see the difference because the girl's frame in black is now, she's moved one layer in, and we have the green frame instead. So you can make all kinds of different color choice depending on what thing goes in what order on your cuts. So then I played a little bit more.
So, Kris, you really don't like to waste any of your die cuts, do you?
I do not. I do not. I don't like wasting anything. It's a sickness, I'm afraid. I use everything. And because these are like so convenient with the cuts, it's easy to use the stuff. I don't even have to store it because I usually make a card at the same time with the negatives as well as the positives. So this one is our beautiful little duck. That's this one right here. So it has a baby duck, a mama duck, and then the background is the bulrushes. And I added the window. Well, it's not really a window. Well, I guess it is. I thought it might be a cage, but it could be a window. It could be a cage too. If you had the bird one, you could put the bird in a cage. But I used that window and actually made a window frame rather than just having the whole background be the window. And I used some wood, a 6x6 wood pack, so that the wood grain was a little bit more in line with the size of the windows. And now you're looking out into the pond at the mummy and the baby duck. How did I color them? Well, the baby duck's beak is the only thing that's colored with yellow ink. Oops, I'm a little too far. And I used a light yellow for the baby duck. I used shiny white, which was again that same packaging, but the opposite side, as I used that had the gold stripe in it. And I colored her beak. And then I just added dots of brown to the bulrushes. And I added a little bit of blue to the green background to get kind of a different tone. This background that's green here is the exact same background as the green in the bulrush leaves in the frame on the inside. So all I did was add with marker some blue to that to make it look more like a marshy lake. So this is basically it. But now I'm thinking, hey, I can look at the window and see her. I can look out the window and see him. And I'll tell you what this one is in a moment. I can look out the window and see a fabulous butterfly. A little bit less of a, here, this one's simpler, so I can see a butterfly. I can look out the window and see a mountain scene. So I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, there's so many things you can do with this as a window. I didn't get around to actually making this because I had too much fun making windows and using them in my cards. So this one I haven't actually made from yet. So these are pieces that are totally reworkable. I use these a lot, and the trees as well, both the heart trees and the trees that are in the background here. You can add those in. Imagine, and I'm going to segue into this way of thinking. So what I did, because I wanted to see what things would work together, so I could cut it out like I did with this. That's how I started. And then I thought, no, I'll put them down so I can see each of the layers, and I'll have them, the negatives and the positives, so I can see what I have to work with. And I've done that with most of them. They have the negative and the positive. I don't know where they all went, but they're there. Oh, there we go. Negative and positive. They're out of order. And then I thought, wait a minute. I can't really see through them to see how well they go over. I can guess, but why not put them on acetate? And then I can truly see what they look like when I put them on my images. So that's what I ended up doing with the newer ones is I put them on acetate. So I can actually play. Look at that open space. What if I had that open space?
Darlene thinks that you had a great idea there. Now she wants you to make her a set.
Okay. Well, I don't know about that, Darlene. You got me busy doing other things. But look at that window. You can make everything a window. This, you can go through here, and now you're in a jungle. This doesn't work as well, but you can still see what's behind there. You know what I mean? Like, and now I don't need to do this anymore because I've got this piece here, and I can say, oh yeah, so I don't want the green here. I can just make this a window that comes right to the edge. So that's what I ended up doing. I ended up putting everything on acetate. Well, I haven't put the ones I've already spent all that time on yet, but eventually they'll get on acetate too. So it's all evolving. And these are the parts that are cutaways from the butterfly. And this helps me decide. I can put that butterfly behind a window just all on its own and make it really sparkly or pretty, or I can paint it or color it however I want. And then here's my frames. My frames I have all acetate plus the squares, because you never know what you want behind pieces and how big your squares need to be. And this one is, I'll show you that in a moment, but this is what we're going to work on the border tonight. And so they're all here, so I can see through them and intermix them and enjoy the creative part. I almost don't want to put them into their sets because it'd be better if they're just all of them are on a big magnet, and then I can just pull them off whichever one I want to use. But of course, you have to be organized in your craft room.
So, Kris.
All right. Yeah.
Ellen actually she told us you could use the vellum if your layer is too big. Not quite sure I understand it, but I think you do.
You can use vellum if the layer is too big. This way you can see behind it. Ellen, are you talking about these guys, or are you talking about the actual cards and things? Vellum will change and diffuse whatever it is you do. So let's say this is the only orange I have, and it's a bit bright. I definitely can put vellum over top of that and have that as the layer so you can't see through it to the background card. And that will mute the color of the orange so that it's less aggressive.
There you go. She clarified a little bit.
Like the tree leaves behind it, the actual cuts. It's still not clear. The actual cuts. Okay, so we're not talking about these. Let's get these off here. Let me look at what we're talking about, and that might help me figure it out. So the tree with the leaves.
Hey Ellen, maybe Ellen can make us a sample and send it or show us next time.
Oh yeah, Ellen, do that. Do that. That would be awesome. I'd love to know what you're suggesting, and put it on the group so that we can see what you're talking about. I'm not quite sure. All right. So this one is, where are you? Where are you? I think, well, I'll show you on here. I think I don't have that in a package, so I can just show you. See, I put everything aside. Oh, there we go. So here is the 3 pieces of this selection. Okay, so we have the the dragonfly, we have the flowers, and we have the lilies. But what I've used here is what was in the duck selection. So I used only this piece. So I cut that piece and this piece. So I cut that piece, and then I just put a piece of paper in the background that was like a yellow color for the sun. And I added again blue to the green, to the this green color to try to make it more swampy looking. And I put dots on the bulrushes, and I actually got a little bit of effervescence or iridescence in the dragonfly. So that was a fun thing to do. But again, mixing and matching and not using all of the same things. So there's what I was working with right there. Two different things. All right. I got to get on to showing you what I'm going to do for my layout. Okay, so I'm going to be doing two borders for my layout. I'm going to use the triptych alignment tool because it's perfect with all of the looking glass dies. And what's going to happen is I'm going to be matting where I'm going to be putting the color for the dies. The dies are going to be colored, and the borders are going to be colored. So let me quickly set this up. I'm going to eyeball it and stick down the mat. Got to make sure you have your yellow tape. That's what makes this job so much easier. And now I lay in my pieces, but you've got to, before you do that, you got to put some sticky on them. So there's two ways you can put sticky. There's a spray, the stencil spray that will keep the masks down, or you can buy mask paper if you wish, but this works just as well. So I'm just sticking down my little masks that go in the center because I want to make sure they're going to align properly. Whoops, I should really use two to keep it from wiggling. All right. Get that all lined up. There we go. There we go. All right. Now I've picked some colors. So what I'm going to do is the actual dragonfly set. So it has greens for the lily pads. It has, I'm using pinks for the flowers and a different kind of green for the dragonfly. And this is what I have all set up. I've picked these in advance. So the dragonfly and the flowers, dragonfly is going to be cracked pistachio, and the flower is going to be spun sugar with kitsch flamingo. So that's going to be those colors. Then I'm doing a morning, midday, and night scene colors. So I'm having on the background is going to be tumbled glass, and on the green lily pads is going to be peeled paint. For the midday, I'm going to have salty ocean as the background, and these colors never change. And I'm going to have rustic wilderness for the lily pads. So I'm just slightly darkening those lily pads. And then at night, it's going to be chipped sapphire with forest moss. And I haven't cut these, but I got to show you how easy this goes through the sidekick. So I'm going to jump right in here. So here's my little sidekick. I just got it and I'm loving it. It's crazy. So all I do is for this, I cut a 2.5 by 2.5 inch square. It doesn't have to be that big. It really only has to be as big as this line is. But I like having something to stick things to in case I don't want to put it on a card. I want to hang on to it and put it somewhere, but I don't know where yet. So I just basically, I have a cut plate bottom and I try to keep my upper plate nice and it fits in perfectly. Like it's so cool. This also has a piece that you flip back. Whoops, you got to make sure you don't have anything underneath to keep it from moving. And it goes in reverse of what you're used to in terms of what your side kick or what your big shot. It turns forward. This one turns backwards. So you'll find that you will figure that one out because you won't know why it's not moving and you'll think, oh, it's too thick, and it's not too thick. It's you got it going in the wrong direction. All right, so here's my butterfly for this third set. And just going to whip these through. You don't have to hold it. I just hold it because that's normally what I do when I have my big shot.
Have you named your sidekick yet? Carol's got a name for hers.
Oh, Carol, what's your sidekick?
She named it Sid.
Sid. I don't really name my things. I would, if I had one, name one of those little guys that you clean things up. I love the idea that Sherry had of putting eyeballs on it and making it a little creature. And there we go. All done. That's how fast it is, folks. Super fast. And we're ready to go. And there's offcuts of this as well, but the offcuts, I don't find these as helpful because they don't have any details. But you could technically go in and just copy those details into those spots and not waste anything. All right, so I've got my 3 sets. Here I go. This is me doing a border for a layout, and I would do this twice normally, but I am going to do that after. Okay, first thing I want to do is something around the outside edge. And I thought I brought out pumice stone for that, but I can't seem to find it. So I took off this guy so that I can decorate what's going on here. And I'm going to get my big brush. Actually, I'm going to use this one. And I sorry, I meant to have pumice stone out, and for some reason I didn't get it. But that's okay because I've got this and I can find it right away. And I think I'm crazy. That's all right. All right. So now I'm just going in, and I don't even care if this is really heavily done. I just want to make sure I don't go under my mats because that's where the color for the water is going to be. And I'm just trying to get texture on this white strip. It is going on a white page, and it probably will have some sort of a border. I'll use some border cutter. Are there any questions at this point?
Nothing that anybody submitted.
Okay, so that means I must be doing my job. I'm going to take it as that. There we go. Just a little texture. Dark in some places, lighter in others. You can't see this so well. Maybe, there we go. Now I can't see it so well. Yeah, no, I can't see. Sorry, guys. I gotta have some light. Okay, just finish off those areas. Whoop.
Margaret
All
thinks
right.
this 3 square thing would be great for a slimline card.
Oh yes, and I have done slimline cards using multiple dies. It's kind of fun to make little triptychs where you have the trees, the person, and the um, background, um, or adding, using different dies together. Whoops! Before I take that off, I have to line this back up because now we don't want to get our morning, noon, and night color where we have pumice stone. So I'm going to peel these guys off. This is such an easy template to use. It has so many uses for cards, for layouts. Well, you can see. All right, so I have morning, noon, and night. Morning is my tumbled. So we're going to get, going to use this one for my tumbled. And I'm doing it all blue because it is a, the die itself is looking down on the water. So it's going to cover the water all together. And I'm using a little guy, so it's kind of giving some smushiness to it, which is what I want. There we go. And you're seeing it very light. It's much more vivid where I am, although tumble glass is a light color. Now I'm going to go on to salty. I'm not going to worry about my brush because I'm going from light to dark. I'm not worrying about the ink that's already on it, if it's going to be a problem, because I don't think it is. Now, when I get all 3 colors on, I usually look back and say, okay, am I seeing a difference in saturation? Do I notice that it is like 3 different times of the day in terms of color? There's one light, one medium, one dark. And I know that I've got chipped sapphire and it's very dark, so I can load up this salty ocean easily, and it won't be a problem. Okay, and chipped sapphire. I'm not being very careful. I'm in a bit of a hurry, but you get the idea. Now I want it darker around the outside edge. It just gives it more of that nighttime look. Okay, there we go. Morning, noon, and night. And now we take off our stencil, and I have my vignettes. I'm just going to put that aside to dry, and now we're going to do our things here. So we had transition from morning, noon, and night in our green. Where is my, there we go. Where's my matchstick, Matt? Uh-oh.
Did you lose me?
I lost you. Whoops, I lost a few dies too. Alrighty, matchstick, where are you? That's not good. Okay, I'll have to use a not matchstick. I'm sorry. So I'm going to start with peeled paint. And for the sake of my backboard and being able to switch colors quickly and not have to do a lot of cleanup, I'm going to put paper underneath. I'm doing right to the outside edges because I don't know what, well, I do know I'm going to be in a particular order, but it's nice to have everything colored. Now I'm using Distress ink, so at any time I could add that fun little slap of water if I wanted to give it some more texture. Okay, there's one. That's supposed to be the morning. Now, this I am going to just take a little bit off. There's not much on there. Doing Rustic Wilderness for the second color. It's almost, I think, like I've got the colors mixed, but we'll see when they're all done which one we're going to use for what. Okay, there's number 2. Yeah, that might be the morning. All right. And Forest Moss. I love this color. For some reason, it just feels smoother than the other colors when I use it. Oops. They are delicate. You don't want to do what I just did, which is let my finger go and have it kind of fold up. You want to be careful of that.
Wouldn't it have been easier to do this blending before you did the die cutting?
I would say no, because I don't want to, first of all, I don't want to waste the ink, because these parts I do use on other projects, right? So I'm not sure what I'm going to be using them for unless I'm doing cards and I'm going to use it right away. When I'm doing a layout, I'm just doing the layout, and they go in a container for the next project. But also, you want to know where things are going to end up, right? So I can't make a nice dark center there and lighter around the outside if I don't know that it's going to be there when I cut it. Does that make sense? Like I'm intentionally putting color, dark and lighter around the outside to give it dimension. And if I did that, I tried to do that on just a white piece of paper, without having a knowledge of where these guys were going to end up, or, just eyeballing it, I guess. I don't know that I would be as happy with it, but 6 of one, half a dozen the other. For that matter, you just use green paper, right?
Makes sense.
Alrighty, so we got that done. Those are out of the way. Okay, green is done. We have light green for that guy. I am not going to use the same. All right, so we're going to do this guy in. Whoa. Okay, Matt, we have to talk about my light.
How am I supposed to fix your light?
I don't know. Tell me why it's so sensitive.
Maybe you need 2 lights.
I do have an upper light, but that might. Oh. All right. So. Yeah, this brush. It's either my color or my brush. It's probably my color. Yeah, I'm going to get a different color. Grab a quick change. Sorry, that one was a bit dry. We're moving to a different color. This time I'm using Modelon. Oh yeah, there we go. Does help to keep your pads well re-inked. All right, there's one.
I'm assuming, Kris, that you're just using Distress because that's your favorite one, but you could use any inks for this.
You can use any ink. There's no distress properties in what I'm doing, so any ink will do. I just happen to like my distressed inks. Oh. I like what's going on in the background here. I think I might use that in a junk journal. I know. Before you say it, of course you would.
You already have Ellen saving all paper bags. She's a paper bag hoarder now, apparently. Don't get her saving all of her scrap papers from blending too.
Oh, well, you know what? I think she may be doing that eventually anyway, because she's gonna want to augment her jelly printing. All right, so now we've got 1, 2, 3 of these guys. I am gonna put this here. All right. So I'm going to do two things here. I am going to do a random light spun sugar because it's the, oh, my matchstick. Found it. It blended in.
Did you decorate it?
Yes, you have to decorate it.
Did
I
you
wanted to
paint
make
it, or
my
did
own.
you? Is that washi tape or is that paint?
It's washi tape. Cool, right? I will never lose it.
Well, you just
I
did.
know. Hmm?
You just did lose it.
I know. Sorry. I won't intentionally lose it. I won't lose it in a big space. I'll just lose it on my desk. Okay. We're almost done here. And then we'll put it all together and it will be ready for the page. So these short learning lives I find very difficult because I have so many things I would like to talk about, and then one thing leads into another thing that leads into another thing. And so whenever you're at the store, or if we're in a class or at an event together and you have questions, just write them down. And then the next time you see me or you're able to talk to one of us at the store, because you weren't, thinking of it at the time of the live, ask us. Because that often happens to me. I find that I'm intently watching, and then I usually go back and watch again and think, I wonder, blah, blah, blah. And then there's nobody there for me to ask. But we are still available, and I'm happy to talk about things, all things crafty. Okay, last two flowers, and then we're just going to touch up the edges and we'll be good to go. I love these matchsticks. They're easier on my fingers.
You almost need a stickier mat to do this blending on so that things aren't so slippery.
Well, the sticky mats are a great thing for that, yeah. But we can't keep them in stock long enough for me to have any, right, Matt?
Well, I wasn't necessarily referring to that, but also like the stencil mats or whatever, any of those silicone things that.
You're right. I probably could have brought out something. Oops. I was not thinking about that. All right, almost done, almost done. Get some pink on there in case it shows. Okay. And the last detail is the darker around the edges.
So while you're doing that, Kris,
Yeah.
way earlier on, Ellen was asking, how was your birthday? She was hoping that you had a wonderful day. So.
Oh, I had a fabulous day. I crafted, I ate, I had cake, I spent time with my husband. I did it all. And no laundry. I got the break from doing laundry, even though I have to do it. I like my whites white. That's why I don't let my husband do it. He's not so fussy. I'm sure that's the case with a fair number of us.
You mean you don't just throw everything in all at the same time and hope for the best?
No. My husband says, "What do you mean they're gray?" Okay, as you can see, just going around the edges here, there's a little more detail. Okay, that will work. Okay, so now we have all this done. Get back our strip, which is somewhere. Oh, there it is. We were going to dry, and I get to use my fun new tool. So morning, noon, and night. All right. So just a light little bit of glue. You don't need a lot, just enough to keep it down. This is great for arthritis. Okay. And now I am going to line it up in that square. I have to stand up to do it. So the reason why I picked this is we went on a hike and we were in a marsh. And so I've got some really great dragonfly and marshy animal and snaily type photos. So I thought this would be a fun accent to have. Oops, move down. I hope I'm putting this the right way up. That wouldn't be very good, would it? There is my...
You're supposed to be confident. Just pretend it's the right way up.
Okay, it's going to be. It's going to have to be. Yeah, that'll work. Because he comes down there. Perfect. Okay, we're good. We're good. It suddenly occurred to me after I got all carried away with all my new tools and all my... Oops. Good thing for mats. Okay. There we go. Then we have our flowers. So this is not a literal interpretation of nighttime and morning time and daytime. This is a what do I want to call it? This is an abstract interpretation.
Joanna's asking whether or not, how do you like the glue tool?
I love it. Look at how little I'm putting on there. I don't know if you can see it. Can I get it to focus? I can't get it to focus. I'm putting like the barest, I'm just like literally scraping it a little tiny bit, and I feel absolutely no pressure on my hands. I find that with squeeze bottles, I do experience some pain. I heard so many people talking about it, and it is a really great tool. Whoops, that
You just picked it up today, didn't you?
Yeah. I don't need hours and hours and hours to figure out I like something. If I like it, it happens right away. Okay, we're almost done. Thank you for your patience, everybody. And this guy didn't stick it down, so I can just do that because I have a glue thing that will let me. All right, final round. Oops. Now, I don't know what my background color is going to be yet. It's darker. I'm going to put that one over here. So what I will do is when the layout is actually finished, I will post it on VIP Inner Circle. Don't know why I said VIP. And there's the border for my layout. Now, I'm going to be doing some more detailing, but this, look how pretty that is. I like it. I hope you like it too. I think it's pretty gorgeous. And that's it for me tonight. I plowed through that.
There was something you wanted me to post in the group. What was that again?
Yes. Okay. So I focused a lot on those of us who don't ink. Well, not us, but those of you that don't ink. So I focused on using cardstock a lot and only did this in the very last moments because not everybody inks. So there are tons of videos out there with inking these. And one of the videos that Matt's going to put up the web address is last year Sherry and Libby from Hero Arts actually did a demo on this kind of inking process. So she shows you step by step what to do. She's far slower than I am in a live because she does it like an actual workshop. So the web address that Matt is going to put up is a link to that video if you want to see another way to go about creating inked images versus the cardstock images. Okay, so don't forget, if you're cutting one, cut many. Don't forget, we have a whole variety of these in the store and they are awesome. And don't forget your masks because the masks are awesome too. And I don't know where it is. Here it is. There we go. So all of this stuff works together and helps you create all these wonderful, fun things. I just love this one. It looks like pop art. And it was very simple. I just cut little scraps of paper. I love scraps to fill in the sections with the gold background. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you, Matt, for hosting with me. And don't forget the little characters. Cut out a whole bunch of little characters and just have them completely on their own in a little container. And butterflies made out of people. It's very cool. That's all I have to say. I will stop now.
Thanks, Kris.
Thank you, guys. Have a great week.